Hey, Mocha family. I am back to talk about my experience with trying out the ketogenic diet for about a month. I haven't stopped. I'm still experimenting with it, but I wanted to come here and share my experiences with you, especially since I have a video that I did not too long ago. I think it was this past summer where I said that keto is not for me, and I explained why I would never transition to a ketogenic diet. What I do practice is intermittent fasting, sort of close to a 20-hour fasting, 4-hour eating window, but I've been experimenting with that to find the exact right window for me, but close to 24. I had been doing 16/8 for several years with some modicum of success. And so what spurred this whole adventure was a comment that somebody left on my video about how to stop overeating in your eating window. So I'll link that video in case you're interested. Please subscribe to my channel, you guys. Since you guys are showing such an interest in intermittent fasting, I'm trying to be more open and share my journey with you guys. I just want conversation. I'm not an expert. I'm really coming to you as just a lay person, as one of you, just trying this stuff out, because there's so much information out there and so much of it to me is conflicting. And you dress up one guy and he looks like an expert, and another guy gets up there and quotes studies and sounds like he's really knows what he's talking about. How do you sift through all that information to find out what really works for you? And what I did with this month-long trial was really just to follow how I was feeling, what my body was doing, because my goal is to feel better. My goal is to function optimally. I don't want to be dealing with brain fog. I don't want to be dealing with bloating. I want to be able to go through my day without it being 7 o'clock at night and feeling like I'm ready to crash and go to sleep when I have things to do and people I want to enjoy. And so that's what I've been doing. I haven't been getting on the scale to weigh myself. I've been looking at myself in the mirror. I've been seeing how my clothes fit and seeing how I feel. And so basically what spurred this was that comment that she asked me about on my, how to not overeat in your eating window video. One of the commenters asked me if I had ever tried a fat fast, and I had never heard of it. And so, like the true scholar that I am in this new age of internet YouTube research, I Googled it, and then I went on YouTube to see what people's testimonials were about a fat fast. And it was really interesting. It seemed to be a way to break the overabundant cravings you can have for carbs and sweets and things like that, which was exactly what I had described in the video that I was experiencing, after a season of sickness and then trying to get back into intermittent fasting. I just was feeling really off. And so I didn't think I wanted to do an egg fast. I felt like eating that much eggs would feel worse to me than how I was feeling, even though I like eggs. I didn't think I could really do an egg fast, but I played around with the idea of increasing my fat intake and decreasing my carbs. And so I was already eating a low carb, but it was a low fat diet and tons of vegetables. And so what I decided to do was to take out the rice cakes that I had every morning with my breakfast. I would eat organic brown rice cakes smothered in peanut butter, 100% natural peanut butter with no sugar, just salt in it. And so I first took that out of my diet. And I tried to increase the amount of fat that I use to make my scrambled eggs. I went up on the olive oil that I was cooking with. And I tried to incorporate healthy fats. And you guys, it was a dramatic change just within several days of how I was feeling. And so coincidentally at the same time, somebody put up a video about how keto got rid of their depression. And so I thought to myself, maybe I should try it out. I'm not making any I'm not making any vows that I'm going to be, following the ketogenic diet for the rest of my life, but maybe I should try it out just because I feel so much better in just 3 days from radically reducing my carbs and increasing my fat. And so basically what I did was I continued what I did for those several 3 days for the month that came. And I started watching different videos. I started watching Keto Connect. I started watching, I don't even know everybody's names, but a lot of buff people. I started watching their videos to see, what recipes I could try. And, I was kind of blown away by the macros that were expected. I was blown away by how much fat they were saying that I should consume when they're talking about high fat. It was much more than what I had been doing before. And I didn't want to use bad fats. I didn't want to use, vegetable oil. And you know what all the bad fats are. And so it was really challenging, you guys. It was very challenging. And to me, it was mentally just as challenging as I thought it would be. Because even though I was able to easily before remove grains from my diet without having too many problems, when it came to getting the sugar out of my diet, just like I thought it would be, it was a real struggle, specifically because I enjoy my lattes. I enjoy my coffee. You know what I'm saying? And coffee is not something that you can just sweeten well with some of these artificial sweeteners and preserve the flavor that you've been enjoying all along. You're going to have to make some adjustments and some shifts in what your expectations are. And I kept watching videos of people reviewing different sweeteners and going on and on about how wonderful the sweetener was. And then when I would taste it, it would have a bitter aftertaste or not be sweet at all after I use a lot of it. Case in point, Stevia. I tried the Stevia powder and it had an aftertaste I just couldn't deal with. So I went to Walmart and I got some cheap Stevia drops. Same thing. In fact, I put so many drops that to me it made the coffee more bitter than it would have been without any drops at all. And but finally I came across, I was actually at Starbucks ordering a latte, and I was bored and saw some Stevia Monkfruit sugar packets and ripped one open and tasted it and thought, wow, there's no aftertaste. It tastes sweet to me. Maybe this will work. So I ordered it off of Amazon, and this is the discovery that I made with sugar alternatives. They don't replace sugar in sweetness exactly, but that particular sweetener, what it did for me was it cut the bitter flavor that you get with just cream and coffee, and it gives you a flavor that reminds you of sweetness. And for me, it was good enough. It was something that I realized that I could get used to, and I found it to be pleasant. So if somebody would have given me that kind of explanation about sugar alternatives, I think I would have been able to go through the process without the level of disappointment that I've experienced so far. So you are making a change, you are making a shift. You're not going to be able to get what you had before, but you can get something that you can learn to be satisfied with, okay? And so, I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing it quite right, because watching Keto Connect, I went to Walmart and I bought some Slim Fast fat bombs. They're supposed to be like Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups. They don't taste like peanut butter cups at all, but they're good. It tastes like a candy bar, basically. And they're using I think erythritol. I don't have the label in front of me. The erythritol is one of the things they use. I don't know if they also use stevia, but whatever they're doing, they managed to get that sweet flavor, but yet not 100% exactly, but it's the closest I found to being able to satisfy that sweet tooth. The chocolate is good. It's sweet. There's no aftertaste. It doesn't taste medicine-y or something that somebody made up in the lab, even though they practically did. But it's good. And so I have those to really curb that sense that I get sometimes after a meal that I really want to have something sweet. And the ingredients seem as clean as I could get them. But this has been an interesting process, you guys. But let me talk to you about the positive results that I've experienced that have made me want to push forward, and the questions that I have about whether or not this is really working for me as far as being ketogenic, whether my body really is in ketosis or not. So the benefits that I've noticed is no more bloating, you guys. I have no more bloating whatsoever. After I eat, my stomach gets a teeny tiny bit appropriately big, and then it goes back down. It's not enough for me to look really super different in my clothes like it was before when I was struggling with food sensitivities. So that's huge, you guys. That's huge. I've been struggling with that for so long. It's huge. Also, after I finish eating a meal, I feel good. I don't have that bloated feeling. I don't have that sluggish feeling. A few minutes later, I don't feel like I need a nap. I can go about my business. I feel sated. Okay? Big difference. And lastly, the biggest difference I've noticed is if I eat my meal later on in the day. I don't know if you'll recall in previous videos I shared that I need to eat before 5. I have a problem if I eat after 5. I have a problem sleeping well. On this diet, I noticed that I can eat right before bed, like an hour before bed, or whatever, and I still have a good night's sleep. I still wake up ready to go. My mind is sharp, no brain fog. My mind is clear. I have good energy. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. I feel like to the extent that I've described, this has truly lived up to the hype of what people are saying that keto has done for them. Now, I don't know. I noticed a radical difference immediately in how I was feeling. What makes me question what's happening with me is the fact that I didn't experience any of the negative side effects that people describe. Like I didn't experience keto flu. I didn't feel bad. I didn't notice a decrease in my energy with my workouts. What they described the first few weeks of being, I didn't experience that at all. I went from feeling poorly, craving carbs like crazy, overeating in my fasting window, to feeling great, like, let's go. And so I don't know how that could have happened to me. Is the explanation that the diet that I was on before was so low carb that the switch was a lot easier for my body? Was my body almost fat adapted anyway? I would question that because I wasn't consuming nearly as many fats. And I also had the habit of enjoying those lattes, which are much higher in carbs than the macros that people talk about on keto. People talk about keeping your carbs, down to 30 net carbs a day or less. You know what I'm saying? And so 5% carbs is what this diet is supposed to be. And, if I have the numbers off, just leave your comment down below. I'm not trying to be an expert. And I did this very loosely using MyFitnessPal to track what I was eating, to try to do my macros using MyFitnessPal. But one downside that I noticed with this was I felt really restricted. I felt really limited. even though I was sated after a meal, I had this feeling that I just want something else. I just want something crunchy. I just want a chip. I just want a French fry. You know what I'm saying? I just want my latte. I just want to be able to have my latte in the flavor and the level of sweetness that I'm accustomed to. So a lot of it is kind of like sugar withdrawal and, you know, cravings. But physically, I'm not feeling hungry. Physically, I'm not feeling any lack. I feel good. But emotionally and mentally, you know, I've been grieving the loss of sugar and not really being happy with the idea that for the rest of my life, if I decide that this is going to be a lifestyle for me, well, until the next breakthrough, right? Until the next health breakthrough. But, you know, for the quote unquote rest of my life, I'm not going to be having sugar. I'm not going to be enjoying, you know, desserts and, you know, beverages and even fruit, you know, because on the ketogenic diet, you know, the people are not in agreement about how much fruit you should even have. And the people that say you should have any fruit at all say you should stick with strawberries and blueberries, basically berries. And I think those were the two that some people clear. They don't even clear the other berries. And so I love strawberries, but other than that, I'm not a big blueberry fan. You know, I'll enjoy it in things, but, you know, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, good, at least I can eat blueberries. And so I would really, really miss fruit. I mean, I'm from the Caribbean. I love my mango. I love my pineapple. You know what I'm saying? I love fruit. I love apple desserts of all kinds. So I'm not happy with the things that I have to lay down. But at the same time, I feel so much better that I feel like maybe what I could come to is a place where, you know, I could lay it down most of the time, but still enjoy it as a treat some of the time. But I'm still not sure because, you know, technically it takes so long and it takes such strict adherence to the diet for your body to stay fat adapted and for your body to make these ketones. And I'm still learning, you guys. You know, I don't know how realistic it is to keep going in and out of the diet, you know, or what period of time it is that you could have a quote unquote cheat day and be okay. And am I even in ketosis, guys? I just don't even know. I mean, I wasn't willing to go buy expensive testing equipment, and everything I read about, you know, the pee strips that are easy to get, you know, say that that's not really accurate and the best way to test yourself. I'm committed to the idea of going according to how I feel. So is what I'm doing really ketogenic, or is it more so paleo? Is this closer to the paleo diet? And am I reaping the benefits that, you know, people were hyping about paleo not too long ago before it all became keto, keto, keto? It was paleo, paleo, paleo. So I don't know. Leave your comments down below. Now, as far as weight loss, I did get on the scale once. I didn't get on the scale before I started so I could have a baseline. I just said, oh, I should probably weigh myself to see where I am, like midway through the process. And I weighed like about 140 pounds, which is basically my ideal weight for my body anyway. And I was happy with that. But I haven't noticed any change in the way my clothes are fitting. So I'm not dropping weight at all because I don't think this diet is that far off from what I was eating before. I basically just dropped my rice cakes, dropped my occasional rice that I would eat with a meal, dropped my potatoes because I would eat sweet potatoes a lot, and I dropped my lattes. That's it. I haven't really changed much of my recipes and what I do because I was already eating somewhat low carb before anyway. So I'm still researching, I'm still getting out there, watching videos, looking for recipes, trying new things. I think I need to up my snack game. Not that I would incorporate snacking because I'm still practicing intermittent fasting. Not that I want to snack throughout the day, but maybe something to add to my meal toward the end of the meal to satisfy that need to have a variety of foods, to eat something more than just meat and your sauteed vegetables, meat, you know, and your steamed vegetables, meat and your roasted baked vegetable. You know, it gets boring to me to a certain extent. And for a person that really wasn't all that great with researching recipes, you know, I found that aspect of it to be challenging. So, you know, I would love it if somebody would comment about the lack of bad symptoms I had in trying to transition into this, and my question about whether or not I could even legitimately call this keto. Is this lazy keto? But in any case, I'm reaping the benefits. I don't know that I need to have a name to validate the fact that I'm experiencing some great benefits in making this shift. I do have a little bit of anxiety still because in the back of my mind, I still believe from having it, you know, banged into my head all the time I was growing up, that fat, any kind of fat, you know, is not good, you know. But, you know, I'm using olive oil, coconut milk. I try to incorporate avocados. I have a limit to how much I can take without it making me feel queasy. So I haven't been able to use a whole lot, but I can use a little bit. I no longer have any negative reactions to dairy. I hesitate to use it all the time because I know dairy is not really supportive to your thyroid, and I'm trying to build my thyroid back up. But I do have occasionally cheese and, you know, things with cheese in it. And what else? That, you know, I've incorporated sardines into my diet. There's supposed to be a superfood now. You guys, it's overwhelming. The information that's coming out is overwhelming, and the extent to which people contradict one another is overwhelming. And so all I can do is sift through it and see what my body says and make my decisions that way. But if you have any advice for me, it's greatly appreciated. Please leave it in the comments down below. Be blessed.